over 350 contributors, reflecting more than 150 countries and territories. Worldview with Guillermo Arduino starts now.
This week on the program...
Okay. So at the time of the quake, she was cooking and then ran outside and saw a series of landslides that just happened.
A village turned tent city in western Sumatra, and residents say there's no rebuilding effort in sight. Plus the seedy underbelly of Trinidad and Tobago, why some women there choose to become drug mules. And later... How many times was the cannonball? Find out what's blowing in the wind in Jaffa, Israel. Worldview becomes your view right now. Hello and welcome to Worldview. I'm Guillermo Arduino. We begin on shaken ground, not in Haiti or Chile, but in the Indonesian province of West Sumatra. More than 1,000 people perished there after twin earthquakes struck the island last September. Many people living in the hardest hit rural areas are still waiting for aid. Oscar Surbakti of SBS TV Australia visited several villages to see how residents are coping.
The village of Gunung Padang Alai today is unrecognisable. It's been transformed into a tent city after last year's earthquakes. But what was supposed to be a temporary solution now looks set to be more permanent, with no rebuilding help in sight. Sari Gumilan and her family of 11 live in this one shelter. She's desperate for a proper house.
I've lost all feeling, and I feel like I want to die. I just want to leave this world. I don't know what to do anymore. There's no room to move.
But she's still considered one of the lucky ones. This is the site of the massive landslides that hit Padang's countryside, triggered by last year's earthquakes. It was cut off from the relief effort for days because of the destruction, and since then it's been marked a mass grave where hundreds of people from at least 3 villages were buried alive. But many people still live here in Gunung Tiga.
Yeah.
Siti Koto is among them. She saw her neighbours die in the landslides. So what were you doing at the time of the quake? Adik lagi ngapain waktu gempa?
Lagi masak-masak di dapur, terus hari gempa lari keluar semua, takutan gitu. Lihat tanah longsor, ketakutan rumah runtuh semuanya.
Okay. So at the time of the quake, she was cooking and then ran outside and saw a series of landslides that just happened, as well as a few destroyed houses. Terus adik sudah dapat bantuan sekarang. Have you received any help?
Belum ada bantuan, cuma bantuan makan-makan udah.
And she hasn't received any substantial help, she says. All she's received is a bit of food, but nothing else. Her father, Akir, shows me what's left of his home, which is teetering on the edge of the slip. He says his family has no other choice but to keep on living here, because 6 months on, they're still waiting for help. But life in downtown Padang couldn't be any more different. A lot of the rubble has been cleared and the city is starting to rebuild. So why have the worst hit rural areas been neglected?
Those
earthquake-affected areas are the responsibility of the district governments, even though they fall under the National Rehabilitation and Reconstruction Program and receive funding from the Central Disaster Management Agency.
Dari BNPB, alokasi dananya.
That's little comfort for thousands of villagers trying to rebuild their lives without the government help that was promised. In Kuruganting, villagers have raised enough money to rebuild a mosque. It's been their only reason for celebration since last year's disaster. In Padang, Oscar Surbakti, World News Australia.
Thanks, Oscar. We hope to see more of your work.